See, it is right 2 minutes after. All right, I'm going to open up with prayer and then we'll get started. Now, if you stay to the end, I have a gift that I'm giving everybody today. All right, so just hang in there with me. It won't be as a college. I'm learning to back off and just give you the benefits. Okay, so help pray for me. I'm learning all this stuff and I'm loving it too. So our dear gracious and heavenly Father, I thank you, Lord Jesus, so much for this amazing opportunity to be here right now. Father, I ask that you bless and anoint me to be able to share all of the amazing miracles that you have blessed my life with over the last 23 and a half years. I thank you for my purpose and for my anointing. I ask that you be with each person as they're on this Zoominar today. Help something that they hear today to bless their lives, enhance their lives, and help them to understand what a priceless treasure they are and how they really need to focus on taking great care of their temples every single day. Bless our time together in your precious and holy name, I pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right. So, for folks that don't know me, my name is Tammy Deering, and I am so excited to be here with you today. I want to thank you first for making the time to do this with us today. This has been a life's journey for me, for health and wellness, all kinds of nightmares that I've gone through. And I'm just going to share some of these things with you today. I want to share my story starting out with you first about why God led me to the Dead Sea. I got diagnosed with fibromyalgia in 1997, and my daughter was 2 years old. My husband and I owned a computer business. We had local dial up. That's back in the day. And we were trying to figure it out. Nobody knew how to do dial up, and computers were very complex, very difficult to deal with. My husband did networking, I was his sales force. And so we would go through all kinds of stress all the time. And with dial up, if the modems were not working, we lived down here at our offices for 3 days, sometimes back to back. We built a nursery for my daughter. So she actually had a crib and the whole 9 yards here. So what happened was I was ignoring my own health. And then I got diagnosed with fibromyalgia and the drugs came into the scene. I became a walking zombie. I was completely dysfunctional. I couldn't be a mother, a wife, uh, just the mere task of sometimes getting out of bed overwhelmed me. I hurt that bad. And I just reached a point where the quality of life was completely gone. Have any of you ever experienced anything like this before with any kind of illness or ailment? If you have, type yes in the chat field and maybe tell me what it was that hit you so hard, because this is something that chronic pain, if you can't relate to it, you can't relate to it. My husband has chronic back pain. I don't. I have a tendency to not really understand where he's coming from with all of this stuff. And so when you can relate to the chronic pain, what's the first thing you want to do? Get rid of it? I mean, literally, you just, God, please take it away. Help me find a better way to live because I am dysfunctional. I can't live. I can't handle this. And so then I learned about essential oils. I learned about the herbs in what I call God's garden. From there, he led me into finding medical documentation on dial up, believe it or not, for healing taking place at the Dead Sea. Now, during this time, I was also losing my hair and going bald. I lost all 10 fingernails to MMA primer that was being illegally used on me, but I did not know it at the nail salon. And it dissolved all 10 of my nail beds. If I had to scratch, I had to pick like a pin up and then, try to scratch because I couldn't get it to, I couldn't, my fingernails, I had none. Well, in my documentation reading, I began to find out about healing that was taking place at the Dead Sea. I read about the Dead Sea actually helping your hair be stronger. Well, I'm losing my hair and going bald. I'm in my 30s. I'm thinking by the time I'm in my 50s, I'm definitely going to be bald. So what do I got to lose, right? put the mud in the hair, right? So that's what I did. Well, long story short, 8 weeks time, guess what happened? My scalp was healed. My nails grew back completely. And in that meantime, I was doing mud masks and I was eradicating the aging process that had taken place on my body because I live in Alabama and I am a sun girl. I've always been, I'm a lover of the sun. I have a swimming pool. I live on a little lake. I even have a big old koi pond with a fountain. I mean, I'm just an outside, outdoor lover kind of chick. And so when I was in my 20s, I was a health instructor and I used to work at the day spa here in town, teaching people how to lose weight and how to get better and get stronger. Well, we had a sunbed. And when we had off time, we'd flip quarters to find out who got to sleep in the sunbed for an hour because we could, right? Well, you're in your 20s. And you know what, guys? Back then, guess what they said? The sunbed was safer and better than the real sun. But I was a double dipper. So I'd go to the sunbed and go outside. And I was what I called Southern fried chicken, Wesson oil frying on aluminum foil. And we would even put iodine in that oil, you know. And sometimes if we didn't have Wesson oil, we would use baby oil. We didn't know any better. Just cooking. Just, I mean, if I was a chocolate bunny in spandex back then, literally. So when you begin to dive into all of this, one of the biggest things that happened to me was, I'm going to go to my next slide here. Uh, I have a question for you. Probably none of you do because you use my products, but a lot of people, I felt like a bulldog. I had the saggy skin problems. I had the jowls, the puffy eyes, the dark circles. I had excessive crow's feet around the eyes. Those kind of happen as you celebrate more birthdays. That's just part of it. Deep furrows in the forehead. Or have any of you ever experienced what do they call the number 11 between the eyes? I literally was all of this. And I did not know what I was going to do about it. I had no clue how to eradicate all of this stuff in the very beginning. So as I began my journey, I started learning about microdermabrasion. And then I started looking into appointments. Well, I live in rural Alabama. I had no place I could go to locally here. So I had to travel to Birmingham, the big city, which took an hour there and an hour home. And that did not take into consideration traffic problems. So already I'm looking at, by the time you get to the doctor's office and go through everything, you're gone for a day. And so it was like, how much is this going to cost? Well, it was $1,000 to get 6 treatments. And I had to go back every week and keep going. And I wouldn't see any results, they told me, for at least 4. And now they're sandblasting my face with magnesium crystals. And I'm like, magnesium? Oh, that's found in the Dead Sea. Man, that's magnesium chloride. That's good for me. Why don't I make Dead Sea dermabrasion and I don't have to go to the doctor? So that was my first formula that I dreamed. God gives me all of these formulas as an answer to a problem, and then I dream the formulas, and then I implement. And so it was amazing. I was like, okay, let's just get in here. And one of the best things that I discovered, and let me go through my slide because I get talking and I won't stay on track. I'm definitely a squirrel. Let's look at my why. This was me last year. Last year in February 2020. I had a horrific psoriasis outbreak. I had this when it was on my scalp and neck. It was 500 times worse. It looked like hot spots on a dog. They were seborrheic psoriasis, so they would ooze. My hair would mat, and it was just a nightmare. And it would burn and itch all day long. It was 24/7. It was the most chronic pain I ever have had at the brain level. And I battled this with the doctors, the dermatologists here in town for 14 years. It wasn't like I didn't give it a good old college try. There was no answer. And so you can see the differences in me here from last year. And this was over the course of about because it was so intense in the body. Because right after this, and I believe what happened was I got COVID. I wasn't diagnosed, but I was negative on everything else. But I was so sick for 3 days and it wouldn't heal because apparently the whole body was, just hit with all these things at one time. And I just was in pain, racked with pain constantly. And so what happened was I started doing the mud, which burns like fire. And Rebecca, I know you can relate to this with your owie on your forehead, but now you know why I said it, because you can see I had worse things going on me. And it was just painful, but I knew it would heal me. And that's the beautiful part about all of these things that I'm going to talk with you today, because you can see the skin, it goes back to normal. There's not any scarring, which is a miracle for all of this. Now, let me go back to my little slide. And this is, I'm going to run through my stories. These are literal stories that everything I've done with the Dead Sea have actually helped me for. Seborrheic psoriasis, the going bald, the fibromyalgia. With fibromyalgia, you also get chronic fatigue syndrome, which is a nightmare. The losing of all my fingernails. Then I dealt with depression, anxiety, and suicidal issues because of all of this going on. I was completely dysfunctional. I don't know what my computer is doing. It's doing something odd over here. I had horrible leg cramps at night. And then I got diagnosed with toenail fungus, as well as my skin was leathered due to smoking and sunbed damage or abuse is really what it was. Let me see, there is a screen that has popped up. Are y'all still here? Making sure I didn't hit the wrong thing. Yeah, you're still here. Okay, sorry. So when you get into the leg cramping, one of the things I learned is that magnesium chloride is one of the most important minerals our body needs. It's responsible for over 600 natural functions in the body. But with magnesium chloride, you cannot take it orally. It can only be utilized by the body properly, being absorbed through the skin. So taking Dead Sea salt baths and doing Dead Sea mud wraps, the Dead Sea has the highest magnesium content than any other place on planet Earth naturally. It's at 46 to 48%. So when you are submerging into the bath, or you're doing the mud wrap, the magnesium chloride, here's the second thing it does. It actually aids with the healing process, because magnesium is an anti-allergen, and what it does is it attacks a sick cell and it begins to reverse that aging, that process, whether it's aging, skin problems, acne issues, oily problems, the whole 9 yards. And this is just all naturally, God had a plan. It's just up to us. We got to implement and learn this stuff. Let me get back to my PowerPoint. So real quick, I'm going to give you a real fast, just a, lick and a promise here on where the Dead Sea is. If you don't know, it's between the country of Israel and Jordan. It's actually the lowest point on Earth. It's 1,320 feet below sea level. When you go down to the Dead Sea, the stress, you feel it literally lifting off your body. It is the most amazing experience I've ever had. I've been there twice, and it's beautiful, it's serene, but when you get there, you feel so relaxed. When you breathe in that deep, rich, salty air, you can just feel the stress just going away. I really want to create a group to go one day when it's safe. Go to Israel and go to, the Gethsemane and all the different places we've been there. It's just amazing. But you can feel the stress relieving. And when you get into the waters, now this next picture is one of my most fun pictures to ever share. It is me floating in the Dead Sea in 2008. And I had highlights there. So, that that is Entrepreneurial Magazine, and the number 10 on there has a significance for me. It was my 10-year anniversary when I was going to the very first time to the Dead Sea. That magazine came in the month we were leaving, which was July of '08, and I brought it with me instead of my local newspaper because I wanted to commemorate my 10-year anniversary to me forever. And so it was such a wonderful experience. The cool part is this picture in June of 2011 was actually used in Entrepreneurial Magazine because I was in B&I back then, and they actually shared it with the magazine and they published it. It was so much fun. So now when we get into, sorry, hold on 2 seconds. Somehow Word opened up. The next picture I want to show you is multiple pictures at the Dead Sea. And yes, that's mud in my hair. I was at the Dead Sea mudding everybody. They came down there, I was wrapping it on them. Now, the main reason that you don't see it on the forehead here is because in July when we were there, it was about 110 degrees in the sun. Well, there's no shade at the Dead Sea. So it is like you're in a sauna. The water was warm and you begin to perspire. Well, if you got that mud up here, guess what? It's going in your eyes. But you can see where I'm upside down with my hands up and my feet up. That's a very unusual thing that most people cannot do, because if you don't have good core strength, what happens is you roll like an elephant in the water. And this happened to a gentleman that wasn't with us, but on the one that went after us in September from the church. He weighed about 410 pounds and he could not control himself in the Dead Sea because you're buoyant. And he just rolled and rolled and rolled. And he kept yelling, "This is not a test. I'm drowning." And people were laughing, thinking he was kidding. And finally, somebody realized he was in stress and was in danger. And they got in there and helped him. So if you ever get the privilege, don't skip going to the Dead Sea. A lot of people, I don't want to go there. It's no big deal. No, it's worth your weight in gold to experience it. It truly is. It just makes my day. I get so giddy when I talk about it. Now, the next one is I'm just going to zip through here. I've already told you about magnesium is 15 times higher in the Dead Sea salt. It's very beneficial for asthma patients. I don't know if you've ever heard of salt rooms, but they actually are salt caves. I would love to have a real Dead Sea salt cave. Most of them right now are using Himalayan sea salt. The best in the world is going to be Dead Sea salt caves, but there are none in the United States. There are a few in Jordan. And when you begin to study, because of course, I do this deep dive research. When you begin to study the skin scales and the serum levels of the psoriasis patients, those are deficient in the magnesium levels. And that is one of the main reasons that it helps so much. The second highest mineral is going to be potassium. Potassium is actually known as the youth mineral. It is very beneficial for helping to regenerate growth of new skin cells, which is the most important thing for anti-aging. When you get into bromide, it is 50 times higher in Dead Sea salts than in any seas in the world. It is very relaxing. So this is one of the reasons that if you suffer with things like fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome, health problems that don't allow you to sleep properly, restless leg syndrome, bathing in the Dead Sea salts is actually what's called thalassotherapy. So it's the use of hydrotherapy, which is going to be your jetted bathtubs or your hot tubs with the mineral sea salts. Now, when we actually put 10 pounds of pure Dead Sea salt in our hot tub outside to keep thalassotherapy in that tub. So we have the high heat, then you've got the pores opening, and then it's bringing in all those wonderful minerals and nutrients. Other ones that are found in the Dead Sea, and these are going in chronological order, are bitumen, calcium, zinc, sulfur, and iodine. A lot of people that have like Hashimoto's disease or different kinds of issues with their thyroid, they get concerned about this, but this is natural iodine and it isn't something that will mess around with thyroid medications. But I always recommend before you do it, if you are taking medications for issues such as that, talk to your doctor first and get their approval, because I am not a doctor and I'm not playing one, and I don't play one on TV either. Thank God. Physiological benefits that come from all of this. Now, this is just I'm just scratching the surface, because I can dive so deep that I could talk to you for literally 3 weeks on this stuff. But it helps to detoxify impurities that are in the skin, toxins, metals, heavy metals, things that get trapped in the pores. Well, this is also so beneficial when you're dealing with acne problems, and all kinds of problems that have to do with the secretion of different oils and things that are over secreted. It begins to help the body normalize itself. It stimulates circulation. Well, this helps with anti-aging, because it helps with the elastin and the collagen. As you celebrate more birthdays, you lose your collagen production 1% every year beginning at the age of 21. So you want to keep that stimulation going. It aids with chronic relief. When you do the deep dive into pubmed.org, or you do it ncbi.gov, you will find that there's a lot of research that's done for chronic problems like rheumatoid arthritis, osteoarthritis, different kinds of arthritises. People go on sabbaticals to the Dead Sea like every 6 months. When I've traveled and I've taught, I've actually met so many people that be on like a bus. They'll ask me, what I'm doing, and I tell them, and of course I talk about the Dead Sea. And one gentleman in New York, he was like, "Oh, I'm from Jerusalem. I went to the Dead Sea every summer with my family, and I still continue to go back because it helps my body feel better with all of my arthritic issues and everything else." He said, "And it keeps me young looking." And I said, "Oh, really?" Because I'm looking at the guy and I'm thinking, he's probably about 50, maybe 60, because I was in my 30s at that time. He was 78. I was just like, okay, I'm on the right track. Got it. It also aids with soothing skin irritations. It encourages new skin development. That's why if you ever get a burn, let it get through that phase and get it to the point where now the skin is beginning to heal. And I work a lot with scarring. When I get women that had C-sections, one of my coaches, Coach L, I'm working with her for she had to have an abdominal procedure done because of her baby's it ripping the abdominal cavity open. And so she had to be ripped stem to stern on her hips. Nasty looking scar, but we're getting it gone. And that's what I can't wait for the finished results with this. When you get down into inflammation and scars and sunspots, it's going to lighten those sunspots over the course of time. It can actually eradicate them if you keep going. Understand, with a sunspot, though, it's a heavy melanin deposit in an area. So as it lightens it, when you go outside, it's going to darken it again because the sun triggers that. So you want to use a good, healthy SPF, probably 25, 30. I like to use the organic type that has the zinc, no nanoparticle whatsoever. And if you're dealing with zinc and titanium dioxides, make sure that you don't buy them in a spray, because when they get airborne, they can get into the lungs and then it can cause health issues. So always use a cream, and then that way you've got a safe sunscreen for yourself. And then, of course, minimizing fine lines, crow's feet, puffiness. You can take that mud, and this is one of my favorite things to do, is put the mud in the refrigerator. And if you get puffiness in the mornings, I'm sure you've tried all these different things like I have, using the spoons and using the eye packs that are cold, but you got to lay down. You can't walk around holding spoons on your eyes, right? So I'm like, okay, let's come up with a better way so I can move and do my morning routine. So I created what I call the raccoon eyes mask. And you just mud the eye area and then go about getting things done, get your coffee made, doing your devotional or whatever. And then when you're done, you rinse it off, and usually my puffiness is gone, or at least halfway. It just depends on. Puffiness can be caused by several things. One of those is going to be sleeping on your side sleepers, which I am. What happens is your eye cavities are they're soft. So as you sleep, you're squashing your face, you're causing wrinkles that stay that way, and your sinuses are backing up in the cavity. So the puffiness is what occurs to the eyes in the morning. Well, I have a special pillow that I sleep on, and I actually sell it in my shop. And I'm not here selling y'all anything, but I'm just sharing with you. It's called Save My Face Pillow. And I've been on this pillow since the year 2000. And when you encounter this pillow, it does its job. I actually challenged the owner, said, I've never woke up without puffy eyes. And she said, I bet you will with my pillow. And I said, I'll try it for free. And she says, yeah. I said, if I like it, she gave me the price. I said, okay. So I came back next morning with my check in hand. I had no puffy eyes, none. And my neck didn't hurt. Now, you normally had chronic neck pain from the fibromyalgia. So the Save My Face pillow, I don't know if we have it on the new website yet or not. I need to double check that. Jessica, would you drop it a note for us to check on that for the website, please? Sorry, y'all. I'm just doing a little homework while I'm teaching. So our next slide is one of my favorite discoveries. I love sharing this story real quick, making sure I'm on track. One of the things that I discovered in 2005 was this story about secrets of a salty survivor. I was in the instructor course for becoming a manicurist instructor so that I could own my own salon and I could do my own treatments for clients. Because I was an instructor, then I could teach in the beauty industry. And so I was in school in Gadsden, Alabama, which is about a 45-minute drive. And I was so excited. I was on pins and needles getting to school because I could not wait to share this information with my teachers, who looked at me like deer in the headlights. Didn't care. They were just like, so what? That is okay, whatever. The cool thing is, because I geek out on this stuff, y'all, this is a research done by NASA. And they discovered this salty survivor is in the pure Dead Sea semi-dry salts. And I had no idea why the healing was occurring. And when you begin to dive into this story, which you cannot find online anymore, you have to go to the Wayback Machine and have the exact URL because they've hidden it from the world. And unless you have the exact URL, you'll never find this story on Google. It's not there. And it's not on NASA's website either anymore, but you can dig it down deep and find it. Well, the reason I still have it is I had the exact URL, and I had the printout with my computer. I just keep it with me because it's just so cool. I went to, well, I need to reprint this. Guess what? I couldn't find it. But the paper, original paper, had the whole URL. So I typed it into the Wayback Machine. Boom, there it was. So my battery is running low. Oh no, Jim, please tell me that. Can you get me my power? No, we can't do this. Wow, I don't see my battery pack in here. I'll let him just, if I shut off, y'all pray for me. Because I don't, it's in here. I don't know what's happening. Is it not plugged in over there? Sorry. Heck. So anyway, the salty survivor, what they did was they put this underneath a microscope. All right. They wanted this for astronauts where they go in and out of the atmosphere with the radiation, and it was ripping up their skin, like burning them badly. They discovered underneath that microscope that the salty survivor, when they hit it with radiation, it exploded, but it brought itself back together stronger, brought it back stronger. So when you add heat, like your bathtub water or your topical heat, where we do this in my day spa, where we do a wrap on the face, we apply the heat, that salty survivor comes alive, and it begins to take what it touches, it begins to help heal it. And it's just so exciting to me because it's like, why are we not being taught this stuff? But they don't want us to know. They don't. I mean, if you can have beautiful skin and don't need the dermatologist, what good's their job, right? Now I'm not trying to put people out of business. I'm just telling you there are natural ways that you can take care of yourself. Now, my next slide is what the Dead Sea Mud Masque can do for you. It firms, it tones, it tightens. When you're a Caucasian female, our décolleté area, which is from the chin down to the top of the chest here, it ages. horrifically. And so when you see me in my mud mask, if you were on my 30-day challenge this past June, you saw me and Jim. He only had his face, but I do the décolleté and even the shoulders, because I want this area to be beautiful. I want it to be, you know, youthful looking. So the more I do it, the better it gets. The best thing is it's non-invasive, it's non-toxic, and it helps to revitalize your skin. It restores dull, drab, and lifeless skin. All of you guys that are going to be at the Abundance with me, when we are in the lobby or you're moving around in the hotel, keep an eye out for that person that has the worst skin you ever saw, and invite them to the spa pampering party that we're holding in the room on the 21st. Now, I heard somebody mention something about something going on that night. Do y'all know anything about that? Okay, I think Danielle said something to me, but maybe I'm incorrect, which is better because then that way we can have the party. But the biggest challenge to me is finding the worst skin ever, because then I can actually show you, I can drop 10 years off a smoker in one facial. It's happened hundreds of times, to the point where it's almost like shocking when you see it. They get in shock from it as well. The next one is just a fun slide. This was us at the Dead Sea in Jordan. You hear a lot of people talk about, you know, Israel and Jordan, and we went to Israel to get our mud there, but they don't have a way to ship large containers. They do only small, you know, small shipments. And so my guide was actually a Messianic Jew named Uvi, and he said, Tammy, Jordan actually built our facility and we are in debt to them for many more years. And we don't have the capability. You're going to have to go to Jordan to get the bulk, where we're talking, you know, 40,000 pounds at a time, because that way I'm getting the pure product and I'm not getting this junk that a lot of people don't realize they're getting. Now, one of the most fun things is, to me, if you look down on the picture of me there, you can actually see the number 11 between my eyes. And this was back in Jordan. So that was in 2008. I was 46, 47 at that time. So it does get rid of that number 11 in between the eyes. I don't know if y'all can see that as good as I do. It's actually on my desk, and every time I go by, I'm like, yeah, you're gone. I got a glass top, and I keep my pictures from Jordan and Israel there, because it just keeps me in the mindset of healing and natural. Then, of course, I've traveled around the entire United States of America, mudding people all over the place. I'm a member of the Handcrafted and Soap Cosmetic Guild, and I taught for them many years. They taught me how to make soap, creams, lotions, and scrubs, and I taught them how to make hair mud masks and Dead Sea soaps and all that wonderful stuff. This next slide is one that this is my favorite to talk about outside of the Dead Sea. This is actually Balneo peat, and this is used in that mud mask that's in all of your mini kits or your full-blown kits, because it preserves your body. This is the Tolan peat bogman. He is 2,400 years old. And that is actually, when you find him online and you can zoom in, you can see the whiskers on his chin. His leather skull cap is still in place. That is a rope that was wrapped around his neck, and it was believed that he was actually a sacrifice to the peat bog gods. And they determined how old he was by the contents of his stomach. But when you get into studying about balneo peat, they use this in sports medicines for treatments and things like that. Let me go to our next one. The next one is, I've got a question. Are your beauty products doing the opposite of what you thought they would do? This happens a lot. You get a lot of the marketing that's out there. People just are, you know, all these promises and, oh my gosh, we're just going to eradicate this, this, and this. And then you buy into it, and then it's like, oh, it's not doing what it needs to do. Have any of you ever had that problem? Type yes in the chat field if you have, because I've gone through it. Countless times. I have bought, I know, over the course of my lifetime, probably at least probably $100,000 in products, since like teenage years. I've celebrated a lot of birthdays. It's not common to spend that kind of money over that many years, but When you get into products, we want to know, are they baby Brinley safe? And that is my grandbaby. The average adult uses between 10 to 15 personal products a day. And one of the biggest things that we don't understand is that there are dangerous toxic chemicals that are carcinogens, they're pesticides, reproductive toxins, endocrine disruptors, plasticizers, all these things that hide in these beautiful bottles in your shower. And we don't really realize that. And you never will. They're not going to talk about it. You have to do the deep dive research. And the average person does not want to do this. I started doing this. And that's when I started realizing that I needed to put everything on me that's safe. And then when I had a grandbaby, I realized that everything I was putting on me was actually safe for my infant granddaughter. And I didn't have to worry about it. My other biggest concern is what is happening to our planet. And the word bioaccumulate actually means become concentrated inside the bodies of living things. This means not just me and you, but it means our cattle, our fish, everything in the oceans. And when you begin to find out about what's really going on out there, it will make you sick. This is actually a picture on the bottom of this that I paid $40 to have the rights to use in all of my presentations. This is a place in Mississippi, believe it or not, that is totally contaminating the ocean. They are dumping this junk. And when I talked to the man that took the picture and I paid him the $40, he was telling me that it's estimated that there are over 310 kilos of contaminated waste entering our water, land, and environment and air every second of every day. That doesn't sound like a lot until you do the math on it and you begin to look at what is happening to the planet. In a year's time, what is that? 8 trillion pounds of toxic waste in a year that's being dumped. And you know, if you were on that beauty encounter on me for 30 days, I mean, boom, 30 days was gone in a heartbeat. So in 1 month, there was over 1 billion pounds of garbage dumped while we were actually trying to take care of ourselves down the drain into our planet. Now, let's talk about quick carcinogens. I know you don't want to read all this stuff, but these are common carcinogens you can look for in your beauty products that are common. They're in there. Now they're starting to hide them by different names, I've noticed. And so you have to do a deeper dive. I'm going to actually be sending out the link to everybody that signed up for the Zoominar, so you can actually have this and then look at your labels to make sure that what you're using does not contain these things. And this is the giant list that we have pulled together so far. It does continue to grow, unfortunately. The good news is when I started all of this 23 and a half years ago, there were over 8,000 toxic ingredients that were allowed to be put into personal care products. The EWG, which is a company that is a nonprofit organization that does research on all of these nasty ingredients and then does reports on it, has whittled that down over the course of time, but we're still at around 800 to 900 that are used pretty commonly in your products still today. 7 things you should know before buying skincare products. Number 1, the most common misconception is the more expensive it is, the better it is. And not the case. And with my mastermind coach, Megan Unsworth, she had me go out to places like Nordstrom's and Bloomingdale's, Saks Fifth Avenue, and look at their high-end products and evaluate those compared to mine. One of the ones that I looked at, there's 2 of them I actually looked at. It was called La Prairie and another one called La Mer. La Mer had over 20 carcinogens in their eye cream that they charge $325. I'm trying to remember the number. And La Prairie eye cream, same size, 1.7 ounce jar, had 30 carcinogens in it, and it was $1,525. I was blown away. I was just like, wow. So the more expensive it is does not mean the better it is. So when you get into this stuff, understand your labels. That's the most important part there. And that's why I've gifted this in your Zoominar so that when you get your link, you can actually check your products. Number 2, fragrance. Oh, everybody loves a good perfume, right? I loved it. I was a fragrance junkie. I was the candle burning chick. I was the plug-ins. I had the plug-ins in my car. I everywhere I went, it had to smell good. My favorite thing was Aspen Bay candles. I sold $5,000 a month here in those candles. I would burn them all over the house when I get home at night because I had to have my mountain berry or tropical fruit, depending on my mood. And I had no idea I was contaminating us whatsoever until the curtains came down and the walls were black with soot. Well, all of that was going into our lungs. And it's no wonder that my husband got diagnosed with asthma back then because it was, I mean, we lived with candles all over the place. But fragrance, the word fragrance, it's so deceptive. It's like Satan himself sitting on a label because it hides over 4,000 toxic ingredients in that one word that are considered trade secrets. So you just don't even know what you're putting on the body. Instead, you want to look for proprietary essential oil blends or the term essential oils. So this way you know that you're not getting fragrances. Now, fragrances back in the day when it was really bad had phthalates in it. They are making it now without phthalates, but I have not ventured into that because I haven't found anything yet when I get the SDS that doesn't talk about having issues for lungs or problems or skin issues. So I don't use any fragrances whatsoever. I just use God's fragrances and have learned how to blend and make perfumes myself. Next one is the term unscented. When you see unscented on a product, it really is hiding a neutralizer or a unscented fragrance that doesn't have to be put on the label at all. Because what it does when you get our products, I've never put this in there, and mine have an earthy herbal undertone to them. Some people, it bothers them. And so we are actually right now working on going to be offering the product line with unscented or our signature fragrance. And I'm going to bring options to abundance, and I'm going to ask you guys to help me pick it because what I like, I want to know what other people like. So I'm going to do a poll and let everybody smell 3 different ones and then give us your feedback. And then the one that is the unanimous one will become our new fragrance, our fragrance, what is it? Signature fragrance. But when you get these products that are out there that say unscented and you don't smell anything, it's a neutralizer that's in there that has over 4,000 other chemicals that can be potentially dangerous to you. Number 4, I'm going to run through this real quick. And I do not know, I guess that this link will work when I email it to you with the PowerPoint. If not, you can copy and paste it. But when you begin to look at endocrine disruptors, this is important, especially if you're considering becoming one of our ambassadors down the road. When we want to work with the younger women because we want them to avoid having to turn back the hands of time. We want them to fight aging now and continue to fight it as they celebrate more birthdays. Well, in your childbearing years, using all of these products that can be endocrine disruptors can cause massive problems for you having a baby. We didn't understand all this when I was starting out, but I've had 5 miscarriages. And it had to have to be with something to do with all of these toxins and things that I was using on my body that got stored. Because what happens with these toxins, your body doesn't know how to eliminate them. It doesn't know how to let go of them. So it stays trapped in the body fat. And that's one of the reasons I work out so hard is to keep the body fat down. When your body fat, especially the visceral body fat around the belly area for ladies, this is where we pack it in. We pack all these toxins in there. And so you want to get that out and get that gone. Using a sauna is a wonderful way to help the body eliminate a lot of toxins that can be trapped. Doing cardio work, I teach insanity exercise. So these things can help rid the body over the course of time. But when you buy like things that say with argan oil, flip it over and look at your label. This is just a little education blurb here. A lot of people don't realize, oh, it's got argan oil. Yeah, I heard about that. Most of the time, that label at the top, it's going to have cheap oils and fillers like soy, all right, cottonseed, canola, which is rapeseed oil, fractionated coconut. These are the cheapest oils on the market. They are what I call ripped and stripped. And soy is actually an endocrine disruptor. And ladies, we don't need to be consuming it. Do your research, and I'm not here to preach on that one, but just take a look at all of this stuff, because when you get into these things that phytoestrogens, that are naturally occurring substances in the plant that have hormone activity, we can get into some health issues, especially for women with different kinds of breast cancer, ovarian cancer, things like that. And I'm not here to talk about that stuff, but I just want you planting that seed just to be aware of things that you might be doing that you could change if you need to. Number 5, women use about 12 personal products, care products that contain over 168 different chemicals. Men are using about 6, and they contain about 85. And many of these products are being used right in the shower where the heat is opening up the pores. Guess what they're doing? They're bringing all that in, from your shampoos to your shower gels to all of these things that you've got going on. And if you've got the fragrance happening in there too, you just got a triple whammy occurring to you. Synthetic fragrances or synthetic colors. These are things that have been linked to synthetic colorants used in personal care products. I never understood why anybody wanted a blue cream or a purple cream or a pink cream. You know, we don't need these dyes. They're just worthless. They can cause all of these side effects and problems, and I've just never added it to any of our products on purpose. You know, you can color with different things. Like we like to use beetroot powder, things like that. Dangers that lurk in your preservative system. These are going to be the parabens and the formaldehydes. And when all of these different links help you go into doing the research I do all day, and I'm more than likely you might not ever do it, but I give it to you because every once in a while I find somebody is like, I want to go check that out. And so there it is, and that'll help you. But when you're starting to look at parabens, these, you guys, they have found them in the lymph nodes of breast cancer patients. And so we want to avoid these at all costs. Formaldehyde, you're also looking at things like urea. It is another form of formaldehyde. They use urea a lot in these peels for your feet, and think 40% urea. I'm like, 40% cancer. No, you don't need it. Just stay clear of this stuff, honestly. Our next one is a little bit about me, and I'm not going to go into this. I'm trying to keep this under an hour for you guys. So my biggest thing is what goes on you goes in you, and that's really what my message is today. I want you to really do a deep dive into how you're taking care of yourself, you know, because it is something that's making me look and feel beautiful. But if it's got a side effect down the road, if I'm going to be sick and in doctor's offices in my late 60s, 70s, 80s, and I don't want that quality of life. I've already been there. I've already gone through all of that. It's like, okay, my job is what? To take care of the temple. We're a temple. We're not a shack out back. This is something this is our number one job, is to take care of the temple now, so we're a blessing and not a burden to our families as we celebrate more birthdays. I want to see baby Brinley have her baby and be there healthy and helping. And I want to see her baby girl have a baby and be there healthy and helping, and not they all have to take care of me and get me to the doctor's offices and stuff like that. So when everybody said, Tammy, you do so much, I do all of these things. My why is my family. My why is to help other women understand we got to do this. If you don't, you're going to kick yourself in the fanny down the road because you didn't do it. So I'm just like, you know what? It's a new day. I've got 24 hours. What am I going to do today to take the best care of me so I can give back and give the best of me to them? And that's really where my heart's at. And that's what I want for everybody. I want to do a little opening up of the floor. I want to ask if I can I've got 3 of you in here, praise Jesus, that have been using the products and getting results. So what I'd like to do is I'm going to start, I'm going to go in alphabetical order, and we're going to go backwards. So I'm going to start with Tammy first. You might have seen the picture of Tammy that our graphic artist did, where it merges her beginning picture into, and I don't know if I can pull it up on my computer or not, but Tammy, I'm going to ask if you can just unmute yourself and introduce yourself. Tell us what you do and then your experience.
Yes, I am Tammy Polson, and I kind of have a story similar and to the fact that I just want to live a healthy, great life for my family and not have to let them take care of me. And so my story is I was raised in Florida, sunbathing all the time. We were the vacation destination from family up north, so I would be out in the sun until my shoulders had blisters and all this. And so it wreaked havoc on my face, and I had several procedures done, a blue light thing where it fried my face. And I'm thinking, how is this making it better? And so had other health issues and just started looking for better answers to my issues. I taught online at that time. I now am have lost 70 pounds, and I got my health coach certification. So woohoo, I'm moving towards that. But I had so much skin damage that when I was teaching, I had to put on this thick makeup to cover all the splotches, because what you see in that first picture is it was actually kind of, you can't even see everything in that picture that was wrong with my face. So anyways, we were going through and I met Tammy, and I was like, okay, I believe in what she's talking about. I believe God has created so many natural products out there for us to use to keep us healthy. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to try it. So I talked to Tammy and I got the thing and I started, and my skin was so dead. That's the only way I can do it. She's like, you're going to feel tingling. And I'm like, I feel nothing. But I didn't say that because I didn't believe in the product. Is I knew how bad my face was. And so each time, all of a sudden, the tingling started happening and started working. And I'm like, okay, I'm feeling it now. Yes, we're getting somewhere. And honestly, I had quit taking pictures, and I was talking to Tammy on my messenger, and it scrolled down and I saw my beginning picture, and I was like, and I went in and my face, I had already washed it and it was nice and clean. And I went, holy cow, that's a huge difference from then to now. So I'm super excited. I showed my husband the picture. He goes, you're ordering more of that, aren't you? You're definitely ordering more. And I was like, yes, sir, I am. Not that he ever complained about my face, but he knew how much it bothered me. So thank you so much for hearing from God and doing what you do, because you're restoring hope and transforming lives. Because soon I'm not going to be having all this makeup on. I'm going to go natural because I can't wait for that day.
You can go to our Dead Sea makeup.
That's right. I am going there.
The more you use it, the better it gets. And one of the things I was going to also reach back out to you is, have you done any heat treatments yet with it?
You might not count it, but I will take the blow dryer.
Yeah.
Okay, is that good?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't know if that was good or not, but I'm like, we're going to get all the benefits here.
Yeah. And well, the blow dryer, number one, will actually accelerate the drying process and firm, tone, and tighten the skin. That heat will also help generate the salty survivor in there to help with the healing process. And you can take it to a new level and do like a plastic wrap and apply a topical heating pad. It gets a little weird on the face. So what you want to do is either do the forehead by itself or under the nose, or if you got cheek issues, we just lay on the side and then swap sides. I use Glad Press and Seal. Back in the day where I was using the cling wrap, and it did not cling, and then it would leak and be everywhere. But with the Press and Seal, it stays in place. So you don't have that problem. And you can do this also for total body wrapping as well. You had asked about sagging skin and losing the 70 pounds. I've done the body wraps. They make a tremendous difference. And I was thinking about you the other day because, I've lost 30 pounds since last year during COVID, drinking the gallon a day. And I noticed that my abdominal area, because I'll be 58, it's kind of doing a little odd thing. And I thought, okay, I need to be my guinea pig. So I'm going to start after the 4th of July is done and everything else, documenting my journey, firming, toning, and tightening of the area. One of the things that I do use in all of the products is niacinamide, and it is very beneficial for helping with the toning of the skin. And so that's why that mud mask is so helpful. But we put niacinamide and D-panthenol in every product that we use, as well as high hyaluronic acid. So it helps nourish your skin while it's on there. So I'm just so thrilled with your results. It just made my day when I saw that. It's like,
I know. I was like, this is cool. I need to send it and let her see. Yeah, I am I'm definitely gonna start doing the mud wrap on the skin because that's
well. The other thing you can do, I did this for double chin issues. You take the Glad Press and Seal and you wrap it in half. And then you take it and you put the mud on, and then you wrap it like a chin wrap, like a toothache is the only way I could figure out. And I tied it in a bow at the top, made a bow out of it, and then just leave it like that and go iron. And what happens is it literally lifts it. I had a lady that had lost 130 pounds in one of those pictures back there, and I don't know if you saw it. She had the chin wrap, and she got mad at me because the chin here was great, but the third chin was hanging. And I was like, don't get mad at me. We didn't know what it was going to do. We were just giving this a shot. Let's wrap the other area, but that's how beneficial it can be. Just work with it and keep yourself like a little journal of pictures, because that's the biggest secret. Thank you so much. Miss Rebecca. Thank you for being here. I know you were supposed to be on a podcast.
It's all right. It's all right. All is good, because I love supporting you and what you're doing, because first off, it works. It's beneficial. And I in the last 5 years is when I've transitioned from anything that's not organic and pretty much actually vegan. But this has helped me so much in what I'm doing. I mean, I have on my makeup today, but I swear, except for my eyes, when I don't, I still feel like I have makeup on, because it's just brought the color out in my skin and made it look smoother. But I wanted to share the one thing that Tammy did for me. I wish I could think of the name of what these things are, and I have them on my forehead, which my dermatologist said, be sure and use like that Sonicare and do a dermabrasion thing. And I said, well, I've got the products for that to help keep it from getting raised and larger. Because what happened is I let this one right here on my temple go till it got, a good size. And so I went to the dermatologist and they scraped it off, down to the nerves. And so then the next day when I was to replace the Band-Aid, I could not get it to quit bleeding. And I even called them and they said, oh, well, just apply pressure. And I said, I have been. And they said, are you on a blood thinner? No, I am not. And so I thought, oh my gosh. So I told Tammy, I sent her a message, and she said, well, you've got the mud cream. Put that on there, but just put a little dab because it's going to burn. And I said, I don't care. I've got to do something. And so I put that on there, and yes, it did, but that was okay, because honestly, I held that, I held an organic cotton round on that for, no, what I did was what you told me to do. I boiled water and let it cool just a little, put a clean cloth in it, and then put that on top of the cream that I put on it. And within 5 minutes, I took that off and it had stopped bleeding. And I thought, oh my God, I cannot believe that this has actually worked. I mean, you know, I mean, until you do it, you don't
Yep,
believe it. And
I know it.
so, yeah, so I kept applying that, and you can barely see where it was, but
And it
what
was
what
cauterized. They
my goal,
cauterized you, right?
they did, they scraped it all off and then they cauterized around the edge to stop the bleeding. And they told me, well, you could come back in and we'll cauterize it more to stop the bleeding, but that's probably going to leave a scar. And I said, well, thank you so much for your information. Talk to you later. And I hung up. So yeah,
No.
but one thing that I am looking forward to is, and this is my question, can I do with the dermabrasion twice a week, or do I need to do it more, where I can help get rid of some of these things that are, and how often should I do the mud mask then to make sure that I keep my face in the best condition that it can be?
Well, I mud every day, every single day. I have been doing it
I know.
every single day since the age of 47 on purpose. My goal is, what will I look like when I'm 80 if I do it? And I knew if I didn't start, I wouldn't know. So I started it 11 years ago. And I took a little sabbatical for about 3 months last year during COVID, just to see. I was still doing facial wash, toner, serum, cream, but I wasn't doing mud mask or dermabrasion. And I did not like the results. I was beginning to see the sagging, bagging, and dragging happening. I do the dermabrasion because I mud daily. I don't go in the shower. I exfoliate my mask off. So I use a
Okay.
washcloth that has these little bumps on it. So it actually is deep exfoliating me daily. So if you've got the little spots up around here, what you can do is put the dermabrasion on a Band-Aid and sleep with it. Then in
Okay.
the morning, do your mud mask. And I'm not going to promise you this, but I believe I've watched it eradicate so many things off of my face. I believe that it will reverse that process. And the reason I'm saying the Dead Sea dermabrasion and not the mud is because the Dead Sea dermabrasion, its base is the high magnesium Dead Sea salt, and it has the Dead Sea powdered mud in it. So you've got a double whammy with
Okay.
all these oils, butters, nutrients that are going to permeate that area and help that area get healthier. And I'd love it if you take a picture before you start, because it's not, if there is a sick cell, it attacks it and makes it healthy. Healthy skin, it doesn't bother. So you can't burn a hole like you could with acid peels, like glycolic acid, lactic acid, things that estheticians use. That's the only reason I didn't become an esthetician, because I had to have all that on me and I didn't want it on me. And so that's why I got the licenses I've got. But that can help tremendously and accelerate it. How big are the spots?
Oh, they're small. They're all really small. They're nothing like this was.
Yeah, because that
And
one
so
was
that's
really,
why, yeah. And I even feel something right there, or I can see it because I can. And so that's the kind of thing that I want to make sure that I am proactive with the care of my skin. I mean, I have been blessed, honestly, my life with my skin being really good.
yeah.
But years of sun, and that just happens. I mean, the good thing is, because of my skin type, and I was dark-headed, these aren't cancerous. They wouldn't turn cancerous. So I'm very fortunate in regards to that.
Well, it's probably like a keratosis area. Is that what he called it? Possibly. There's so many different technical terms
I
for
know
just
I need to get, I
a
was going to
spot.
find the paper before I got on and ran out of time. So I will find that paper again and see what he called it.
Well, and when we get to the end of this, we'll talk about setting up where I can actually help you step through that.
Okay.
I'm just excited. Now, one of the things I wanted to ask you, because I saw before you ever got a kit, décolleté area when you didn't have makeup on one time, and it looks to me like it's cleared up, where you had little dark spots all over it.
Now this area still has those bumps, and they're raised bumps. And I know that's because this was the area that always got sunburned.
Yeah,
always.
I got sun poisoning there a lot. when I was young.
So that's an area that I would like to be proactively working on as well, to see if I
You
can't get that cleared up.
you
So
can use the dermabrasion there as well, and
Mhm.
then use a rotary unit. The
I got that.
Clarisonic, I don't know if you know, they shut their company down.
They
Um,
did. I still have one.
the Clarisonic, it's a sonic vibrator. And what it's going to
Mhm.
do is just going to pound stuff into you. A rotary unit is going to exfoliate and remove like a toothbrush. And so when you're dealing with the face or an area you're working on, I don't recommend a sonic anything unless you're doing it on your teeth,
Okay.
because it just pumps it in there and it packs it down. And a lot of times, unless you've got really great products, you don't want that getting packed in there. Does that make sense? You know,
Mhm.
because like even your cleansers and things. And I tested them all. I mean, I looked at trying, because I tried 23 different handheld units. I don't know what is with me and the number 23.
Yeah, I'd
But
like to know which one you would recommend then.
we have one here, but I mean, I can show you one and you can go online. It's all good. But
Right.
the rotary is better, and that way the one that we have here, it has a body one as well as a face, and then it also has a facial sponge. I like the brush part because it cleans deeper and it
Mhm.
exfoliates while it's doing it. So you can use the Dead Sea Derm. I use this unit in my facial room when I'm doing the Dead Sea CBD facials. I will, and with the Dead Sea Dermabrasion, because, and when they get done, I mean, you look like you've had laser surgery done, but you're all natural and you can go to the beach and
Yeah.
not have to hide your face. So I hope that
Yeah.
helps somehow.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you for being here so much. I'm just so thrilled. All right, Miss Christina.
Oh my gosh, Tammy. Gosh, I was turning right before my 55th birthday. I was just looking in the mirror and my skin was um just I was looking at the wrinkles, right around this area, right around up here on my forehead, and of course my eye area right here. And to tell you the truth, I was a little down in the dumps. Just look, seeing this face back at me, and just, I wasn't feeling what I was looking at, and then I tried Tammy's products, and the second time, I think it was the second day, I looked at myself in the mirror and I said, "Oh my gosh, this is, I mean, I could see visibly that it was a little bit smoother and it looked alive. It looked uh just more fresh, right? And so I was like over the moon. It just gave me that little lift, that little spirit that I needed, a little bounce in my step. Was like, okay, Christina, you got to keep going, because my goal was to erase 10 years, right? That's my first goal. And then now my second goal is to erase another 10 years, right? So I just felt like I was on the right track. And one of the things that I've noticed, because when I'm washing my mud mask off my face, I'm doing my hands as well. And I've noticed that my hands are smoother, and my nails. I've always had problems growing my nails. They've been thin and split. And I've been using the salve on my hands every night. And just in the last week, I can say, I just looked at my nails and I went, oh my gosh, they're growing. I was like, oh my gosh, they've never been this healthy before. And so it's been a side benefit of, everything else that I've been doing. So,
Well, I use the Dead Sea Dermabrasion in manicures and pedicures. So I do that on step. I don't use foot files, because when I realized that it would eradicate the age on my face, I was like, what can it do for these nasty, crusty feet I work on, all these people? Women, if you don't take care of your feet, you wear flip-flops all summer long, the back of the heels get this real nasty, nasty area.
That's
And
me. That's me.
when you use the Dead Sea Dermabrasion on there, if I have really bad feet, I do a wrap, and then I'm actually in my nail room. This is my backdrop at my manicure table. These are what we use, and we also have them for hands, and
Wow.
they plug in like they're heating pads for the feet.
Right.
And so you wrap them up with a Glad Presence Seal. In my room, I don't have those Petathrones because they're awkward and they're difficult for elderly to get in and out of. So I wanted it to be like my home, and I have a dual Lazy Boy Chase recliner. And so I take husbands and wives or best friends, they come in together and we do the dual. Well, I can kick them back in the Lazy Boy with the pads on their feet and get them like butter. They are so slickly soft when I get done. If they've got flip-flops on, if they brought flip-flops in, I have to wipe the bottom of their feet or they'll shoot out the front. And I had to learn this the hard way with a doctor. She brought high heel flip-flops. And I was like, Kelly, let me wipe your feet off. I gotta go. I'm running late. She went running down the hall, shot out the front of the flip-flops, blew out the flip-flops because of how slick her feet were. Like, we're not going there again. So I always learned from the school of hard knocks around here.
I look, Tammy, I love the products, and I am determined to go to your spa, and I want to get done head to toe. Okay. That is one of my goals. So after July, that is on my list. I'm going to go up there. I'm going to make an appointment. I want to get done from head to toe.
Well, I would like to make a suggestion. All right, because we've got Mastermind coming up in August.
Yes.
Let's plan on Labor Day weekend, and you stay at my house.
Okay.
All right. Instead of in a hotel, I got a beautiful downstairs guest room and bathroom. And when you walk out downstairs, you can look out over the lake and into the koi pond, and then you can stay at my home, and then we can do that. Cause that way I don't want you to stay in a hotel.
Oh, that would be fabulous. I just want to see what Tammy does. Like, I want to study it because I know she's doing more than what she's revealing. And so I just want hands on, girls. I want to stay youthful for the rest of my life. And I've just seen such a dramatic in the health of my toenails, and
And your mom.
And my mom. Yeah. My mom's doing the healthy nails on her toenails. And so I know that we're on the right path, but I just want to go, and I want to dissect everything that Tammy is doing so that I can do it for myself.
Well, see, that way, if you're at my home, you can see what I do every day.
That's right.
So does anybody have any questions? I hope that this has been informational for y'all. We're a little over time. I apologize about that. But when you get down into testimonials and all that good stuff, I eat it up. Any questions at all?
Oh, Tammy, I have one question.
Yes.
What sunscreen do you recommend?
I actually use Baby Organics.
Baby Organics. Okay.
Now you can go to ewg.org and you can research there. They have products. I've actually submitted to find out what it costs to become EWG certified, because all of my products are safe, and I know it is, but I have to submit, I want to submit the facial kit first because it costs a lot of money to have that certification on all of your products. But because I've been studying them for 23 and a half years and following everything they do, I know that everything I have is safe. But they do research on all of the sunscreen. I got concerned about the sunscreen nightmare issues way back in the day, because when the doctors keep touting do this, it bothers me. Somebody's teaching these doctors, right?
Yeah, they want to keep us sick. That's
right.
That's their modus operandi.
But they don't even know. They don't know that who's teaching them wants to keep us sick.
Right.
Their brain is not. They can only focus to here, right? They don't go natural because they can't. They can't do everything. So what happens is they're taught and they're taught, and that's it. And then that's law. And it's not the law. The real law is Ezekiel 47:12. The fruit for food and the leaves for healing. That's the real law. And when we got away from it because it's a little more difficult than taking a pill and sitting in a chair.
Right.
But you take that pill and sit in the chair, you're dying slowly. And usually it's causing more complications. And I'm not saying don't go to the doctor. Of course, I went to the dentist this morning, got my teeth cleaned. You got to do these things, but get your blood tested and make sure you're healthy. And then if there's an issue, focus on it. Go with the medical. And then when they release you, now it's your turn to stay healthy. Don't stay there. Don't stay stagnant. Always move, always move, always move. And don't ever quit. If you stop, pick yourself up, start again. Every day's a new day.
I have one more question.
Yes, ma'am.
How, because I'm looking into making sure, like doing everything I can naturally to balance my hormones. Is there anything that you do or anything that I can do to help do that?
I know that magnesium chloride is one of the best things you can do. And
Okay.
taking a bath in the Dead Sea salts regularly can
Okay.
help just with all the different 600 functions. A lot of times, a lot of the help, because I've been writing this book for forever, and I need to just finish it. It's called The Magnesium Malady.
Okay.
And I've done the research on the magnesium chloride because when I had that aha moment, I remember, because I've gone through 3 different distributor people to get my Dead Sea ingredients. And I remember back in 1999 and the year 2000, it was like God revealed to me, magnesium chloride is the most healing mineral there is.
Okay.
And I was like, I need to get that. Well, it's like, can we just get Dead Sea chloride, magnesium chloride? And they were like, no. Well, now I can. So now I actually use the Dead Sea semi-dry salt along with and boost the magnesium chloride in all of my products to help with all of that. And
Okay.
so I haven't done the research about what it does for hormones, but 600 functions.
Mm-hmm.
And my bathroom has been out of commission for my tub has been out of commission for 4 years. I finally got in the tub the other night for the first time.
Wow.
When excuse me, I'm sorry. When I submerged into that awesome salty water, and I used one of our Everything's Coming Up Rose's bath truffles for the aromatherapy.
Mm-hmm.
Girl, my body was like, wow, it's been 4 years since you've done this.
Wow.
I am home again, and I slept so soundly. It was almost the most difficult thing. I didn't want to wake up. It was one of the most wonderful sleep nights I've had in forever. And I'd forgotten what that was like because I haven't been able to get into the bath. And it's so healing. It's so therapeutic. And, when you get into you don't want to get out of it is the problem.
Tammy, I want you to
Yes.
bring some of the Dead Sea salt to Dallas.
Yeah, we're making up 30 mini kits that we'll have there for sale. And then we're going to have order forms that people can place an order immediately. And if they order that day, what we're going to do is give a discount off. And that way we'll have it. But I'm shipping out some stuff. So if you're interested in that, I'll throw some bags of the salt in there, and because we're going to ship out a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, if you can, because I remember now you're not driving like I am, so
No,
it's okay. But I probably am going to go ahead and order some just because I want to try this.
Sure. Yeah, it's one of the most amazing things, and you've got to have the right Dead Sea salt. The semi-dry Dead Sea salt is what you need to have to get the benefits. I don't know if y'all have heard this story, but when I went over there, I found out that, the Dead Sea is actually mined by Israel and Jordan for the minerals to make fertilizer. It's $1 trillion a year business for them. They sell it to the world. All right. Well, when they mine the Dead Sea salt and they pull all those minerals out, what's left is Dead Sea salt, nothing but the NaCl, NaCl. Well, they sell that as Dead Sea salt. And how do you know if you got semi-dry versus regular Dead Sea salt? Leave the lid off. All right. With my Dead Sea salt, it's watery in the bottom. If you leave that lid, what happens is the Dead Sea is a natural humectant. It draws moisture to itself. This is why your skin looks so dewy all day long when you use like the Mud Light cream and the toner and the serum. It's got the hyaluronic acid in there, and it's also got the minerals. So they're bringing the moisture and keeping the skin plump and soft and supple. So that's the wonderful side effect that you get from that. But if your salts, if you leave the lid off and they are dry at the end of a week, it's the ripped and stripped. And that's the simple way to know. Then what happens here in Alabama, when we get our shipments in, we have to take every bag and double bag it, because inside the bag, it's such a powerful humectant. It will become Dead Sea water in that bag.
Wow.
And it becomes brine. Well, my salts have melted. So I have to wrap them double to keep them where I can actually have salt that we can use because of Alabama. I need to move up north. I'm gonna do it. Simone, are you asking a question?
I just wanted to say that I know exactly what you're talking about. It's way better to use natural stuff, but even though they say they're natural, you have got to make sure they're natural. So,
Exactly.
yeah, so I'm definitely on board with you. And it's so funny as I'm listening to you, as you're talking, I'm going, oh my gosh, I did that aesthetics course. I know some of the stuff and most of the stuff that you're talking about, and what you have to do is pick sense out of nonsense, figure out what they're saying, and take the truth for yourself and go do your research. You cannot listen to what they say, because most of the stuff on the market, it's crap. And if you buy that stuff and put it on your skin, you're setting yourself up for a disaster. You know, even at the doctors, when they say stuff, oh, take this. I say, why would I take that? Why am I taking that? For one, what is it doing when I take it? Is it helping me or is it masking? You know, so you have to ask those questions, and you have to protect yourself. You have to protect what goes in your body, what you eat, what you put on your skin, all those various different things. So yeah, I'm definitely with you. Yeah.
I'm so glad you came.
Me too.
How did you find us? Are you in Life on Fire?
It was I'm on Life on Fire, but I was on the on Facebook yesterday, and I saw your story. You're telling a story, and then at the bottom of it you say, oh, I'm having a Zoominar tomorrow, and I go, oh, but that's Canada Day. I say, you know what, I don't care, I'm gonna go, because what am I doing Canada Day? I'm home. So I'll just go on and hear what you've got to say. And maybe it might be something in there that I might learn, you know? So yes, it is, it's awesome. I'm happy to be here.
Oh, we're thrilled to have you. Thank you very much for joining us.
You're welcome.
All right, so let's get to your free gift. Jim, will you post in the chat field the link? What we're gonna do, we have nothing for sale today, but I want to give you an hour of my time. All right, we can break it into 2 30-minute sessions, but what I would like to do is for you to come to me, set up your appointment on Calendly. I've only got a 2-week window open because I'm extremely busy. I teach exercise class at night, 4 nights a week, and then on the weekends too. But I've set this up where you can work with yourself and work with me. I've got it on the weekends even for a window of about 2 hours. And you come to me with your questions or your products, whatever it is that you've got. You might have questions. What is this ingredient? What is that? What can I do about this problem? And let's get laser focused on 2 things you want to accomplish, whether it's health, hair, body, face, whatever it is, nails, got nail fungus, anything along these lines. Let me help you with 2 30-minute sessions, lead, guide, and direct you on what you can do and how you can get it better. So that is my gift. That's a $500 gift that I could charge in a heartbeat, but I want to give that to you guys because it's important to me that I show you I'm not lying. Now, y'all have tried the products, but other ones haven't. So that's one of the things I like to do. I'm a doubting Tammy, and that's why I'm throwing this party at Abundance, is I want to prove to these folks I'm real. You know, we're not a multi-level marketing company. We own our lab, we own our building, we own 2,400 ingredients we work with on top of 40,000 pounds of dead sea. It's amazing. But if he's posted that link, you can just pull it up, schedule it, and then it'll go to my calendar. And then I like to do Zoom because I can see you. All right. Don't come to me with makeup on. Don't worry about it. And if it's in the evenings, I've just worked out. You know, we're not in glamour mode on these calls. What we're on is a mission to help you get these answers, because that's what I want. I want to help you fight aging now, feel fantastic in the skin you're in, and know what you're doing for yourself is going to make it better, not a Band-Aid on an artery, and it's not going to hurt your health or the planet in our future. And that's really where I want to be. So if you got the link, schedule her up. And if you need to, you know, take a little bit, go for it. But we will get this done. And I guess I missed one of my slides here, in conclusion slide real quick. The bottom line is God truly has put it all here. It is up for us to learn and then implement. And all of us in Life on Fire know that for sure. Then our references. These are all the different things that I study. I try not to go to what I call the other websites, because they're going to twist and market. I study medical documentation because there is no twist. There is contraindications and indications. And so this way I can actually boil it right down into, is this going to actually be beneficial? So that's where I do all of my research from. That way it's no games, just the facts, man. So that's what I got for you guys today. I appreciate y'all being here so very much. All right. Thanks for being here.